What's going on, guys? jacobrdoty here, back from my vlog, and today I'm doing another point of view, but I have new wheels on, so obviously I have to update the walk around. I will have to do it again because I ordered new tires last night or 2 nights ago. They'll be here tomorrow. I went with 245/35s instead of 265/35s, so a little bit more stretch. It'll probably match the rear better, but this is how it's looking right now at my go up bumps ride height. It was dark the night that I did it, but you could kind of see how my fender bowed out this way. I know the lens kind of adds to that. Naturally pulled my fender, which I didn't really want to have happen. Although I got away scot-free, it maybe helped me in the long run to be able to run more aggressive wheels, I guess. But we're gonna go ahead, lower down to what I feel is safe until I get my new tires. High right there, we'll go to ride height. This is what I have no issues at. So there goes to ride height. This is preset low, which I feel pretty comfortable about. That's pretty much as low as I like it to be until I get those new tires. It's just, I mean, it's so close under there. Sorry, they're so dirty, but yeah, it's a tight fitment. The rear, that's only at 25 PSI, not fully aired out. If I got a tiny pull on those, I bet you I could tuck them all the way and sit as low as possible. I don't want to get too crazy with the car though, with doing body work. Eventually I'll probably get the car fully resprayed something, but yeah, right now I just want to keep it like this. This is as low as I want to go until I get new tires. And yeah, you guys have been really loving the steering wheel. I know it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's definitely not a cheap part, but the carbon fiber on it's very quality. The stitching and everything's very high quality. So this is a custom part, handmade. So that's why the price kind of reflects that. But I hope you guys do enjoy this. I'll have the link down in the description to the steering wheel. Now I have you guys up on my head. I'm trying out the wider field of view. I think I was on a linear one before. So now I'm on a wider one. I have the car aired up again so I can go out this bump. Ugh. Can air out to ride height. All right. One of the main topics I want to talk about is V6 Mustangs and V6 muscle cars, I guess, in general. The other topic is the type of power adder I want to add to the Mustang. I think I finally made a decision. I'll talk to you guys why I think I'm going to go this way. Not anytime soon. It's a very expensive system and I don't want to drop the cash on that right now. So I'm not in a rush to do that. And then that'll also kind of lead us into our next part, which is the Boss Manifold worth it? Because we're going to talk about that with the power adder that I want to add. Actually hooked not too bad once it's dry with these Lexanis. In the rain though, as you guys saw, it was nothing. So I hope I can get a little gap right here for this on-ramp. It's a good long one, so you already know we'll have to let it rip a little bit with the windows down. Let's see if I can get a gap. No one's behind me, so. That's first gear. All right, second gear. Rolling into it. And now we're in sixth and just sitting here at 60 miles an hour. Oh, and the Prius wants to merge into me. That's awesome. Jumping right into it, the V6 muscle cars, right? Everyone loves to hate on them. They're easy targets because they aren't the V8 versions, but I think there are some benefits to them. I will admit that I do hate on them just a little bit, just because of the attitude of some of them, but I will say that you can also flip it because V8 owners can also be big tools as well. You just gotta have the right ego. So I just say in general, it's all about your ego and how you drive and how you talk about the car and present yourself. Basic fact is that whoever's driving the car puts the personality into the car, right? So if you were a major tool bag and you drove a Ferrari, now you're a tool that drives a Ferrari. But if you're one of the nicest people that people know, people only talk about good things whenever they talk about you, and you drive a Ferrari, now you're a great guy that drives a Ferrari, super nice, share the car, share the experience, right? So it's all about who drives them. And that's why I'm not a really big hater of love the V6 Mustang in general. I mean, it has a place. It's more fuel efficient, lighter weight, everything like that. But I just think the people that drive them, they have to compare themselves to the V8s all the time, and they try to drive them like V8s, or they try to race them and say they're competitive to the V8. And I think that's where the line has to be drawn. It's two totally different classes, because the V8 is the torque. It's the muscle behind the car, right? Although this is a pony car, not a muscle car, but the same goes for Challengers and Camaros and stuff like that. The V6 has their own place for the people that want the looks, maybe not the whole price or the gas efficiency of a V8, but they still wanted the cool car, which was the Mustang or Challenger or whatever. So I think that's really one of the main keys, is just how you drive the car, your personality. I mean, because look at this Geo, little Geo right there, could be the nicest person in the world, and then I'd say, oh, Geo drivers must be super nice. But then as soon as you go and have somebody cut you off, weave through traffic, and you see a Geo do that, it's maybe now those freaking Geo drivers do that, you know? So it's all about that persona. And I hate to say it, the V8 guys can definitely be the loud, obnoxious, revving all the time. Anytime there's like a parking garage making car alarms go off, that all just kind of is douchey in a bit, so you don't really want to keep doing that. Yeah, just to wrap it up, I guess V6 muscle cars aren't so bad as long as the way that you drive them and the way you present yourself isn't in a cocky or tool bag type of way. Same goes for V8s. Just don't be a tool bag and everything's fine. I'd say that's just solid life advice, not just car advice. Since that was pretty boring, I'm going to give a little bit of gap just so I can downshift and get on it a little bit for you guys. I'm sorry I'm stuck in traffic, but we'll try to have safe fun as much as we can. That's fourth, third. Honestly, tires hook up pretty good. I kind of just stabbed it in third right there, and it hooked pretty good, so not bad. These Lexanis aren't so bad, everybody. Everyone was hating on them, but I could see it in the rain. I could see it in cold weather, but it's not anything crazy. It's 61 out right now. It's been dry for at least a day because it was kind of rainy last night. But yeah, this is pretty good. I'm at least happy with them. Next topic is the power adder that I chose for the Mustang. Not chose as in bought it, but chose as in this is my plan for it. I'm going with the Whipple. I'm going with the positive displacement. I just think that's going to be the best bet for the type of driving that I do, which is kind of just running a gun on the streets, have that instant torque, push you back in your seat. I just love that. And I know that I'm going to be getting rid of the Boss, which I'm currently painting. That cover has taken me so long to do, but it's turning out awesome. Little sneak peek pic right here. So I had some sneak peeks on my Instagram for it, and you guys asked for a video, but honestly, that video is going to be so bad. If you guys really want it, then let me know. But yeah, it's just been a long work in progress. I think a big bright yellow Whipple down there is going to be sick. They have this Gen 5, which is like the reverse one, like a ZL1 or a 2018 style Whipple. Oh, we're going to pass this guy. Saying my driving style, as you can see, is really just downshift, punch it, run and gun, pass people around, just own the street whenever you're driving, so that way you can get out of situations. Turbo is awesome for that, but as a stick car, because I do want to say stick, you lose a lot of boost whenever you shift, so I don't really go for that, and I'm not max effort going for like a world record or anything like that. I just want to have a fun street car that also can run maybe a 10 and just be able to say that I ran a 10, you know? Big one coming up right here, I think. Nope, no rubbing, so that was good. We passed that. Obviously, whenever I do the 245s, I'll be able to lower the front end a little bit more for ride height, and then I still won't have any rubbing, which is good. And the Paxton was a good option as well. That guy Martin has that. It's a great option for sure, but the thing about the Whipple, I mean, Paxton also is 50 state legal, but the Whipple is right here about 2 hours away in Fresno. Actually, if I just made a U-turn and went down that way, probably an hour and a half from my house. One day I do want to try to schedule up a meeting with Whipple, just do a tour of their like warehouse and how everything's made. I believe a lot of that stuff is made in-house, so that would be a pretty interesting video. A Paxton was a good option, but it does take more RPM to rev out, which gets me into this, which is the Boss. The Boss versus the stock 11 to 14 intake manifold. I love the upgrade. I think it's awesome because I can rev out more. I can have more fun, which is just, it's addicting. Once you start revving it out high, it is pretty addicting. Work loss down low, I don't really notice because I don't punch it down low. I mean, I never really raced at 2,500 RPMs. So just driving through traffic and stuff is no real big deal to me. Jesus, why are we slowing down? Oh man, we have so much traffic of that. I want that limited. That one's above a platinum. That's a black limited FX4. That thing's like a fully loaded F250. I love it. Sir, I'm gonna need your truck because I want to tow this to the drag strip. Continuing on, you could always add a Paxton and keep the Boss, which is another option. I mean, I have my mind open, but I've really grown to love the Whipple and that instant torque that they offer. I just think that would be a great option for a street car. And yeah, getting back into my thoughts on the Boss 202 intake manifold, totally worth it if you're going NA. I think the progression of basically a stock cold air intake with a tune that wakes up the car, you add the intake manifold, it adds another layer to it. And then whenever you add a power adder, sure, you might get rid of it if you go to a Whipple, but if it takes usually a little while for people to go from NA to a fully positive displacement build, right? Because you have to upgrade certain things along the way, like a drive shaft, shifter, clutch, stuff like that, right? So I think the Boss intake manifold at the price it is, which people are getting them for like 400 bucks or less, especially a ported Boss, it's gonna be even crazier. Great middle ground to get you in the game. Sorry guys, I'm getting a little stuffy. Like I was saying, the Boss 202 is a great middle ground. It gets you in the game of performance mods, and it does wake up the car a whole lot different. All right. Skirt. Brimbos. Hi V6 Mustang, we were just talking about you. Definitely rubbed right there. Hopefully no damage, but yeah, we're almost home. I'm gonna go ahead, wrap it up. I did post this up on Instagram to bring in some questions, and you guys really quickly did that, so thank you very much. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. If you guys have any suggestions for next time or any topics for the next video, go ahead, leave a comment down below. I'll read them all, respond to as many as I can. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys enjoyed, then please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Super bad on that dip, so I didn't expect that dip to be there. Gotta be careful. I really hope I don't have any damage on the car, but we'll see, I guess, when we get home. I need to put in my new clutch so I can really power shift. I'm being careful so I don't explode my MT82.